Namaste, namaste, and welcome to this, space, just space of everything and nothing. It's just a space. It's an open space. And it really becomes more and more open. Nice to slip into when we are just simple, innocent, and just be innocently awake to what your mind is doing, to the thoughts that come up. Be innocently awake to the emotions that come up. And just be so simple and innocent. It doesn't matter what kind of thoughts. It doesn't matter if it's an idea or a concept or a belief or something that you've held for a long time that seems to be true. It doesn't matter. But just be simple. Just be awake to your mind. Because the mind, it likes to know things. It likes to judge. It has opinions, ideas, all sorts of knowledge. But the mind cannot know being, cannot know who you really are, cannot know what the self really is. If the mind thinks it knows the self, thinks it knows being, then that is just a thought of being. It's a thought of, it's the mind's idea. It's not being experiencing itself. So we don't want to have the mind's idea get in the way of the really pure, clear experience of being of itself. Being's experience of itself is not an experience. It is the experiencer of all experience. This is why when we have an experience, there's an experiencer and an experience, and really a process of experiencing. But with being experiencing itself, it is the experiencer process of experiencing and experience of itself. So it's a different thing. Different. Because it is so incredibly simple to be this unbounded awareness that is really beyond the farthest edges of your field of perception, beyond the mind, beyond the intellect, beyond the emotions. And it has its own light, because it is awareness itself. It's pure awareness itself. And so it's awake to itself everywhere within itself. So we just have to be so simple if we want to awaken. And of course we know many people who are watching this are awake. They're already awake. And it's a beautiful thing. But there's really no end to the depth of consciousness's experience of itself, the depth and intensity of itself opening up to its own total reality that it is. And so this infinity of consciousness is everywhere. It's unbounded, but it's also infinite in its depth of its own experience of itself. So it won't be too boring to listen to this, even if you are already awake. Hopefully. It may be boring to the mind, because the mind wants some information. It wants to know something. And we really don't know anything here. So this really can't give any information about nothing. So we just be simple, be open, be innocent, feel the space of silence all around us, and allow the space of awareness to hold itself. Because there is a stillness all around us, a presence, a silence. It's really a sort of a fatness of silence and stillness that gets to become more substantial just as we sit here and be with ourselves. That's all we're doing. We're sitting here and being with the real self. The self is getting closer to itself. And we're not referring to the person, not the personality, not the body, not the mind, not the emotions. We're talking about the real self, who you really are, beyond all that, beyond mind, emotions, perceptions, beyond everything, beyond everything that exists, everything that we are awake to now. We go beyond that to something more simple, more elementary, more primal, more simple. Really something more perfect, because it has no errors in it, no mistakes. And when it knows itself, by itself, it's unmistakable to itself. It's unmistakable. So we just continue and continue just to be so very, very simple, and be present right here now. Just be present in the space around us here. Because really it's a beautiful space of silent presence all around. And that space of silent presence all around us here. A presence of silence, a silent space everywhere, all around. And it doesn't really matter if anything has been happening in that silent space, or if nothing's been happening at all. It really doesn't matter. Because nothing happens to the space in which everything is happening. And so this is what we are, really, and want to have become a little more predominant. Because, after all, it's your real self, real being. It's who you really are. Everything else is not really real. It's real to the senses, real to the mind, real to the emotions and sensations. But it's not real to the being, to the self itself. It has a reality, but not the ultimate reality of what you really are. And so we want to come to that and be that, and here we just allow this to open up a little more, allow the stillness, the silence, the presence in the space around us to become a little bit more palpable, so that even the noisy mind knows that, oh, there's something there. Something is there. So good. Because it's so beautiful, really. I mean, the mind cannot really appreciate the beauty of being, really, because it's just silence from that perspective of the mind. But the being itself can appreciate its own beauty of not only its silence, but also its aliveness, its fullness, its presence, its just its true reality that it comes awake, it sort of sparks and comes awake to itself, all by itself. A certain brightness comes in the silence that is all around, as the awareness itself pulls itself away from the entanglement with the body-mind. When it pulls itself away and comes to experience itself more in the forefront of the experience. It's a beautiful thing, because, you know, the being itself doesn't really appreciate the vastness and boundlessness of its own silence or its own dynamism, simply because it is all of that. It is that. So it doesn't feel silence. It doesn't get so, well, maybe it does get a little enamored with its own liveliness. But it really doesn't feel silence in the same way that the mind experiences silence. When the mind experiences silence or some presence around here, it can, if it's not a doting mind, it can feel some presence and silence everywhere, all around. And so it can be with that and notice it more, because it's not just simply silence. It's silent, wakeful awareness itself. And that silent, wakeful awareness is awake to itself. And so it causes, from the perspective of the mind, a sensation of something watching the little body, something out here, watching the little me, the little person here. And so, when the mind becomes awake to that watching presence, then it wakes up a little more. It wakes up a little more. Because now that watching presence has silenced the mind somewhat. It has silenced it. So when the mind is silent, more silent, then that field of watching presence can become more active, more awake to itself, because it's a field all around, and it's all of these objects and phenomena are within it that are right out here. So it's right out here. It's beyond the out here. It is enabling the out here to be here. So there is this presence that even the air, the light, the space all around is within it. It's within it because it's more vast and boundless, and so there's no boundaries in it, and so its own greatness and vastness, it can maybe open a little more if it opens a little more, more silence comes. The mind stops, becomes more alert, more awake. The wakefulness and alertness of the mind, it's not really the mind that has wakefulness and alertness. Wakefulness and alertness is inherent in the field of this presence. It's just been localized at the point of the body-mind. But really, that pure alertness, pure wakefulness, pure awareness really has no end to it, no boundary there. No person, no me to put an edge on its alertness, its attention, its awareness. No. You, as mind, body, person, you don't have alertness, attention, awareness, even intelligence. That's all borrowed from the being, because it's all inherent in the field of unbounded awareness that is all around us here now. That is awake to itself, everywhere within itself. And of course, ultimately, everything is unbounded and universal, cosmic. But all we want to do is to be what we are, be this boundless field of pure, silent presence that is everywhere, that knows itself all by itself, doesn't need your help, mind. So just stay out of the way, mind. You have really no business here. And so just be simple and allow more of the stuff of awareness itself to be here, to experience its own stuff, its own light of consciousness, its own light, its own brightness, its own clarity, its own purity. It's really beyond anything pure or impure, but it has a certain qualitylessness to it, because all qualities are inherent within it. So right here in this space around us, you are that space, you are that spaciousness, that boundlessness, that wide awake awareness that is not localized at the point of the body-mind. But body-mind does okay. It functions okay by itself. It doesn't need any, it doesn't need you there being you, who you really are as the unbounded being, the self itself. It doesn't need the self there to function. It just functions fine all by itself. And it's been doing that all along. And so the self itself is independent. Independent. It's on its own level, separate from, and yet the source of the body-mind and this whole world around us, the whole life around us here. So this expansive field of silent awareness, silent pure awareness itself, that, you know, it does see the body, and it does see the emotions and the feelings. It sees everything. It's the real seer. It's the real seer, the real source of everything everywhere. And so it sees your body sitting there. It sees your mind thinking. It sees everything. You know? And now all it has to do is to really just to turn around and see itself. See itself by dropping back into itself at every point within itself. It just falls back upon itself and becomes more awake to itself. It becomes brighter, clearer, more pronounced as it's opening up to itself, just to itself. You know? So it becomes clear. The clarity comes, a real pure clarity comes, and without any mind there. Doesn't need the mind. Don't need a clear mind. You just need no mind. No mind. Just the being itself, being awake to itself. This is the thing. And so it comes up a little bit more, and it becomes awake to itself at every point, everywhere. It sees itself, seeing itself from everywhere, all at once. Because it's awareness itself. It's pure awareness. So it's just allow it to turn back upon itself. It doesn't matter about the perceptions. We keep the eyes open so the eyes can see what's going on, so the eyes can see, so the being can see what it's not. That's the thing. The being can see what it's not. And so it's not the body, it's not the mind, it's not the emotions, it's not the senses, it's not any of these objects around us, but it's out here, beyond the objects. The objects are within it. So it's not experiencing itself from the point of view of the person. It experiences itself at every point, everywhere. And it is awake to itself. It just sees itself by itself, because it is pure awareness itself. So this is the thing, to come back and be so simple, just be so simple. And it's the being itself that is awake to itself, falling back within itself, falling back to itself at every point within itself. Not the mind, the being itself. It's awake to its self, experiencing itself. And this experience of itself, experiencing itself, is a liveliness in the field of silence. And the liveliness increases as it drills more deeply into its own experience of itself, as it falls back, falls awake, it falls awake, falls awake. So we just be with that, because as it falls awake, it's opening up a new, fresh vision of itself that is always ever new, ever fresh, ever more delightful and beautiful. It's so delightful, such a delight as it enters into itself, enters into its own light, and it becomes, instead of just a field of stillness, silence, it really becomes a field of lively silence, lively stillness, lively peace, lively joy. And, of course, because that's what it is. That's what it is. And so it's so alive, so awake, and so awake to itself out here, that it becomes more enamored with itself. Out here, being awake to itself and turning back upon itself to experience its own boundless reality, its own boundless infinity that it is. And just really drinking itself in, because it's so beautiful and really such a delicious thing. It's so delicious, so beautiful, so bountiful, so abundant, so full of fullness. It's filling itself up with fullness. And so we continue to allow it to fill itself with fullness and just revel within itself, because it just loves itself. Because after all, there's nothing else but that. There's nothing else but it. And so, of course, it loves itself. And so this being itself becomes more awake to itself. Greater fullness is here. Greater, more substance in the space around us is here. More presence is here. Just more of everything and less of the mind and even the objects of perception are kind of insignificant, really, compared to all of the presence around us here, silent presence that becomes so dominant. And see, what is beautiful is that the mind doesn't even have to focus or concentrate on these words. Let go of the mind trying to focus on anything, really. Just let go. Let it be unfocused, although keep the eyes open if you have not yet awakened. Keep the eyes open, because the being is not somewhere deep within. It's there, but that deep within is right out here. There is no inner, no outer. It is just one field of being. And we can say all of this world and body-mind is within that. So if you have not yet awakened, keep the eyes open. The being won't be able to recognize itself and awaken to its boundless reality if your eyes are closed. There's no reference, there's no contrast when the eyes are closed between silence and silence. The contrast is between silence and aliveness, silence and form and phenomena, and formlessness itself, formless, pure being. Pure being is formless, formless field, unbounded, infinite field of grandness and vastness that deepens its experience of itself. It just deepens its experience of itself. And the form and phenomena, we don't need to bother about that at this point. Ultimately, of course, it is all form and phenomena as well. But at this point here, we just want to be, just be. And to have to allow a little bit more of the intensity of the being become present here now. It uses your body-mind as a channel to experience its own omnipresence. So we just be simple, be simple, be simple. Allow the intensity of the stillness and the presence to be here. Don't bother about the perceptions. What the eyes see, it's not about what the eyes see. It's about that by virtue of and through which the eyes can see. So don't get into the perceptions. There's something behind all the perceptions. Something right out here in front of you. In front of it. It is really you who you really are out here in front of the body-mind and behind the body-mind and everywhere. And all of these objects and phenomena, including the body-mind, are within that unbounded awareness that you are. Just allow this intensity of the being to deepen, intensity of the presence here. Because this presence at some point will take over, and you allow it. Just allow it. Mind, allow it. Allow the intensity of the presence to take over. Don't resist anything. Don't look for anything. Stop looking. And you will come face to face with yourself, with the omnipresent reality of yourself. Let it absorb you. Let it take over. Let it come. Let it come. And remember itself as that being, this presence, this wholeness, this grandness, this vastness that is everywhere, all around. Because that's what you are. You are that. Not this little body, you are that unbounded awareness. And allow the body to do what it has to do. If it has to release something, let it release. Let it release. Release. Don't hold back. Don't resist. Just let go. Just let go. Just let go. And it will rise above everything you thought you were. And you will really come back home to who you really are and what is really real. So just let go.